your daily dose of African insight with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Well, activists have accused SADC leaders of not doing enough to stop the war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It comes after the 45th Ordinary Summit of SADC heads of state and government was held in Antananarivo, Madagascar. The summit, according to SADC, is crucial for discussing regional issues, making decisions and providing policy guidance to SADC institutions. But activists say this has not happened in relation to the war in the DRC. And for more on this, we are joined on the line by a Congolese writer and democracy activist, Kabasu Babu Katulondi. Kabasu, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the program, and warmest greetings to the viewers and listeners.
Now, Kabasu, you have accused leaders of the SADC region of failing the DRC. Elaborate on this.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, you remember to send these Sami DRC contingent DRC, and it resulted in a tragic fiasco. And so far, there's never been some kind of evaluation to establish what clearly happened there. That's number one. But number two, subsequent to that, now we see these SADC leaders gathering there in Antananarivo, and just alluding sketchily to the DRC and committing to the ongoing process. Yet, there is imperative necessity right now for them, as we indicated and emphasized during our advocacy press conference on the 14th of August in Pretoria, that SADC leaders, particularly South Africa, should take the lead, because they have these constructive experience of Sun City, Pretoria processes, so that they can send a team of wise men of African president to go and interact, engage President Tshisekedi, so that there can be an acceleration of the peace process toward an inclusive dialogue that can lead to a transition and credible elections in 2028, probably.
We've seen a number of times numerous contingencies being brought forward with regards to, apart from MONUSCO, but the SADC regiment that was sent through there to the eastern parts of the DRC, but to bring peace to the region and to the country, but it really did not work. Now, should these leaders step in? Would there really be peace in the DRC and the region?
Not only that first of all, didn't calculate properly what was the situation, the context in the Congo prior to sending troops there, because prior to them sending troops there had been already EAC troops there, and there was also a debacle. Instead of them, sitting down and evaluating why did EAC fail, they just went ahead and sent troops there. So what we are saying is that they must sit down and because they know. I mean, President Thabo Mbeki was involved in brokering a constructive peace process in the DRC. President Masire was involved. Zimbabwe had been involved in sending troops there. Namibia. So they have not to send troops, but to send wise men who can go and sit down with President Tshisekedi, because he is the president of DRC right now. So he has to take the lead. He's the one who has to promote reconciliation, who has to promote national cohesion, because he cannot lead the country, a country that is fractured, that is fragmented. Even the Americans who stepped in the so-called US DRC critical minerals deal, there's nothing they can achieve if the country is fragmented, if the country is on the path toward a state collapse. So if the DRC situation degenerates, it will also reverberate in SADC. And you I think you followed, they were speaking about interstate sort of economic transactions and increasing that with regard to new challenges, tariff increase, and so on and so forth. DRC is the largest country, most populous, richest country, not only in Africa, but in SADC, and it can interact with all these countries to sort of catapult economic growth and develop social development in the region. But it seems that African presidents really lack this understanding, a proactive, strategic grasp of DRC. President Mandela, the late president, illustrious President Mandela, understood that. President Thabo Mbeki understood that. NEPAD was framed also anchoring DRC as one of the main economic development engines. Unfortunately, it seems that the African president, currently SADC president, do not have that strategic grasp of the Congo.
Now, what needs to happen with regards to the ensuring that there is peace in the DRC? The U.S. peace deal, just literally days after the signing of the peace deal, including a signing of minerals agreements and so on, a number of people were killed. The Qatar deal, the first one, it fell through, and then there's another process now. And we had a discussion with another analyst who spoke of the fact that the M23 rebels are not represented at this particular one. So what needs to happen? What exactly is the big fight in the DRC? Because I think there's a bit of misunderstanding coming from all directions.
Yeah, there are two components to the quagmire. The first component is internal, the crisis of legitimacy, derailment of constitutional democracy. Remember, President Tshisekedi ran chaotic, shambled elections in 2023, and prior to that, there had been what they called a parliamentary coup d'etat, because he replaced the majority stemming from elections with his own majority, removed speakers, and so on and so forth. So this is the problem internally, the derailment of the derailing of the constitutional democracy there, systematic violation of the constitution and dictatorial predation. That's number one. But number two, one of the most complex situations right now is the international, the geopolitical, geoeconomic aspect, where you have this triangle of the White House, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. United Arab Emirates, right now, companies from United Arab Emirates, one company from Dubai called Primera Metals, paid already $1.9 billion to the Congolese government in 2022 and acquired all the multi-critical mineral deposits in North Kivu, South Kivu, and Maniema. And also recently that company acquired shares for $368 million. So these people have got about $2.2 billion of money invested there, but they cannot operate. They cannot stop exploitation because M23 is there. And then you've got Qataris who invested something like $2 or $3 billion building a new airport in Kigali for Rwanda Airways, but Rwanda Airways on the path toward bankruptcy because they can't operate in DRC and they can't fly over DRC. So you've got the geoeconomic, geopolitical situation, which really now comes to add on to the challenge of internal crisis. So SADC presidents have to display some kind of a statesmanship, ingenuity, proactive statesmanship to go and engage Mr. Tshisekedi. You heard, and we said it in a video, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke with President Putin about a situation in Ukraine after the meeting with Trump. Why can't he call his counterpart in next door to say what is going on with this situation? We need to see the inclusive dialogue occurring.
Well, because of time, Kabasu, I wish we could go on with this discussion because it's getting more and more interesting. But because of time, we are going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
That is Congolese writer and democracy activist Kabasu Babu Katulondi joining us on the line. It is 12:30 Central African Time, and our news headlines up next with Onelin Sinti.